When a company restructures its organization, it is a transformation that impacts every level of the business, including people, culture, processes, and systems. Unfortunately, about 70% of organizational restructuring efforts fail. Do you know why? It is not because the company restructuring plan itself is imperfect, but because of ineffective organizational change management. Employees resist the change, adoption falls, and business outcomes are delayed. My name is Obi Iradion, and I am a senior organizational change management consultant. In this video, I will show you the best change management practices for implementing organizational restructuring for your organization. You will learn how to assess readiness, design a change strategy, drive adoption, and sustain results using a four-phase, scalable, and flexible organizational change management approach that is used by leading organizations across the globe. Phase one of the four-phase change management framework for you to apply for your organizational restructuring is what we call the assess phase. The second phase is the design, where you design your change management deliverables and materials. And then phase three is where you implement your change management communications, your change management training, and other engagement activities to get impacted users to accept, embrace, and adopt the business restructuring. And then phase four is where you deliver change management deliverables to sustain the new behaviors that come with restructuring an organization. Next, I will go over each of these phases, starting with phase one. For phase one, there are 6 change readiness assessments you should do to really understand how ready your organization is for the organizational restructuring implementation. The findings from your 6 readiness assessments will tell you exactly where you and your team should focus your entire change management efforts for the organizational restructuring implementation. The first assessment is to conduct what we call a current state and cultural assessment. You basically want to answer this key question. Ready? Is the culture of impacted groups ready to accept, embrace, and adopt a transformational organizational restructuring? You can use surveys or focus groups to gather information about how ready the various impacted groups are to accepting change, especially change at this scale. At the end of this video, I will give you access to a free readiness survey that you can use for this particular exercise. The second assessment for your organizational restructuring is a detailed change impact assessment, which tells you and the team what is changing, who is impacted, and the level of impact by function or role. And you can conduct this change impact assessment using the free organizational restructuring change impact assessment template on my screen. And I will share this with you at the end of this video. So make sure you stay on to the end. Now, I often get questions about how do we gather the information to populate this organizational restructuring change impact assessment template. To gather the information, you want to meet with the business analysts that have done the process mapping You can also meet with members of the project team, as well as functional leads or anyone that has been involved in mapping the process flows. Third, you want to identify resistance that may derail the reorg implementation. And so you can use the free resistance management template that I am sharing on my screen. After you populate this template, you want to ensure that you keep this document confidential and show it to people on a need to know basis. This is what you will be using to mitigate resistance to your corporate restructuring. Fourth, you will also want to map your stakeholders and champions for the company reorg. Stakeholder mapping for organizational restructuring ensures that everyone impacted by the reorg is identified and engaged appropriately. Five, you want to conduct enablement needs assessment. What exactly is this? Well, different departments and groups often have different preferences for how they would like to receive communications, how they would like to receive training or knowledge, and how they like to be engaged. And so, identify a few individuals within each of the impacted groups and interview them to gather their preferences. This is absolutely important for you to keep in mind so that you don't run into resistance. And then you also want to send out a readiness survey to gather awareness, receptiveness, knowledge of the company restructuring, and other information. This allows you to define the baseline. So if in the beginning you identify that there is a lack of awareness, there is a lack of receptiveness, there is a lack of knowledge, then your change management efforts should be focused on increasing the gaps, or rather, increasing knowledge, increasing awareness, and reducing the gaps. Okay. Now, at the end of this video, I will give you access to a link for you to download a free standardized survey that I have used to increase my success when doing change management for organizational restructuring. You can have this survey and start using that today. And before we dive into phase two, if you need someone to help you do all of these heavy change management lifting, or somebody to support you and your organization to help increase your success, do reach out to me. See the link below. Phase two is the design and develop phase for your organizational reorg and restructuring. As I mentioned earlier, during this phase is where you will be designing your change management strategies and also developing the key materials that will be used to communicate, enable, train, and support users that will be impacted by the organizational restructuring to help them adopt and accept the changes. Now, for phase two, take a look at my screen. What we are looking at here are key strategies that you will want to develop for how change management will be delivered. The 7 strategies on my screen cover all angles from communication and engagement to resistance management and training. Now, there is a strategic playbook that I have used to successfully increase my success when doing change management for a wide range of corporate restructuring, organizational reorgs, as well as large business transformations. And I will give that to you for free at the end of this session. But for now, let me show you what it looks like. When you get into the strategic playbook template, which is in PowerPoint, you will see this cover slide, which is the first slide. You click and then you get to this strategic playbook overview slide. And this slide provides a quick summary of the recommended strategies that you want to consider to help increase change adoption for any project that you might be implementing. As we go through this strategic playbook, I will highlight some key information that you need to know. The first one is when you access and you are using this template playbook, you want to ensure that you include impacted audience. Which groups or personas or job roles will be impacted by your project? You also want to include the level or the severity of impact and ensure that you socialize this slide with stakeholders and also leadership. Your communication strategies, you can leverage the ones that we currently have here on the template, but we recommend that you implement a hybrid communication approach that involves a top-down and a bottom-up approach. What exactly is this? With the top-down, and here is a visual representation, with the top-down, the change and program team are providing communications to leaders and managers and asking them to cascade those communications to end users. For the bottom up, it starts from the bottom. The change and the program team, including the champions, are sending up communications to everyone. That's a bottom up. And so your approach is to use both of them, which is why we call it a hybrid approach. It is very effective to increase change management successes. Within the playbook, you will notice we have also included the channels that you can use to communicate out your change project. This is a template, meaning you have to take this and make changes to it to ensure it matches your project and also your organization. Another strategy included here is the engagement strategy. And here you would notice we propose you do a two-way communication and engagement approach. What is the difference between communication and engagement? Well, engagement really is the interactive component of communicating a change. It involves doing briefings, conducting meetings, doing roadshows, giving people the opportunity to ask questions in real time. So you want to include what we are looking at here on this slide as part of your engagement strategies. And here we are actually providing visual views of the different channels you will want to consider using as part of your strategies for engaging impacted users. So there was a kickoff event, there are roadshows, town halls, focus meetings, and you also have interactive workshops, conduct focus groups, feedback sessions, engage your champions with regular meetings, conduct drop-in support calls, do virtual Q&A sessions, and also have stakeholder roundtables. Now, obviously, it might not be possible for you to do every single one of these, which is fine. The goal is we are presenting you with a portfolio of options. It is up to you to determine which one or two or three or four you have the bandwidth and the capability to implement. Another strategy included here is how to mitigate resistance. You want to apply a proactive and a reactive approach. A proactive approach is identifying where resistance will come from and then developing the plans to ensure it doesn't come up. Reactive is when you identify resistance and then you have to mitigate that. This strategic playbook also includes strategies for engaging with leaders and also sponsors. And you can see here, we have included respective activity types, cadence, how often, and also the purpose. And then there is also strategies for your change champion network, as well as strategies for your training deliverables. Here we've included different strategies to help increase your success. Now, once again, that was a quick overview of the strategic playbook, which is free. And the goal is you take this template and you customize it to match your purpose, your project, and your organization. After finalizing your change management strategies for your company's reorg using the free change management strategic playbook that I will provide to you, the next step is to create your step by step detailed change management plans. That includes your engagement plans, your communication plans, and also your training plans. Together, all of these plans, which I am currently sharing on my screen, ensure that the corporate reorganization implementation is not just planned, but executed in a structured, measurable way that increases adoption for the company's reorganization. You will also want to create the communication assets that you will use to drive awareness and engagement during your company's organizational restructuring. So basically, you will be sending out invites for kickoff sessions, for onboarding, and also training reminders. You will be sending out email communications for updates, for countdowns, get ready, and go live announcements, and using newsletters to maintain momentum and also to share success stories. The key, though, when it comes to increasing the success of a company's reorganization, the key is this: consistency. Communicate early, often, and in multiple formats so communications land across all impacted audiences. You will also want to build the materials that you will be using to onboard, engage, and equip the champions that will be supporting your company's reorganizational efforts. Such materials for you to put together include the champion onboarding kickoff deck and also a champion a toolkit. Now, at the end of this video, when I provide you with access to our library of free change management templates and tools, one of those free templates will be the champion onboarding kickoff deck that you can use. In addition, you should create a leadership engagement toolkit and materials to help leaders actively champion the company's reorg. You want to use a leader action roadmap. So take a look at the bottom right of my screen. You see where it says leader action roadmap? That is very simple and easy for you to put together, but it provides a lot of value. It is basically something that you give to leaders to help them understand what is expected of them before, during, and after go live. You also want to develop persona-based or role-based learning materials. Persona-based just means targeted training. One size does not fit all when it comes to training. So if there is a sales department, you should focus training that is centered around sales language. If there is a marketing department that is impacted, use marketing language for their training. IT, manufacturing, human resources, operations, all of these different departments should each have their own persona. You should also create a central hub for housing all of your change materials as well as training and resources. This ensures consistency and easy access for all users. Now, before we go on, if you are finding value in this video, do give this video a like, as that helps me a lot, and that also lets me know that you found this video useful. You can also subscribe to be kept updated on useful content. Okay, now we move to phase 3 of our change management program for your company's reorg. And phase 3 is the implement and manage adoption phase. And so let us go ahead and jump into what this phase is all about. During this phase, you will be delivering targeted communications through a wide range of channels, including email, town halls, newsletters, videos, and your enablement site. You want to ensure that you keep messages transparent and consistent. The goal is to make sure every audience that is impacted by the company's restructuring gets the right information at the right time through the right channels to build excitement, readiness, and sustained adoption. You can use this template that I am currently sharing on my screen. It is free. It is one of the many free templates I will give to you at the end of this video. Take a look at my screen and you will notice there are multiple columns in this template, starting with the communication audience, who should be getting the communication. What type of communication is this? How frequent should they get the communication? What is the priority? What is the channel for delivering the communication? Who should deliver the communication? And what are the communication objectives? So when you get this template, there are two tabs in the Excel. One of them is blank for you to populate for your own business reorganization, change management efforts. The other tab contains what you are looking at here. It just provides you with a sample. That way you can follow along using the sample. Okay. The next thing is to launch, manage, and support your change champions. You want to start with a kickoff meeting where you go over what it means to be a champion during this time of company restructuring. And you also want to ensure that you support your champions throughout the implementation of the company restructuring. Meet with them weekly or every other week in the beginning, and then eventually you can start meeting with them once a month, once every quarter. During your champion engagement sessions, continue to answer questions they might have, provide them with resources, and literally just continue to support and also educate them to help them become more effective champions. You also want to deliver what we call a white glove leadership onboarding and coaching. This is basically one-on-one sessions with impacted leaders. You can also do small group sessions. During this session, you walk them through how the company restructuring will benefit them personally. What's in it for them? You want to answer that question during this white glove session. And then also take some use cases from a leadership perspective and walk them through those use cases so they can see for themselves how they can apply the changes that is coming out from this company reorg. You also want to deliver hands-on training to everyone impacted. We're talking about frontline employees, managers, supervisors. Ensure that you provide them with, it could be virtual training, in-person training, give them office hours. Office hours are basically sessions that anyone can join to ask questions or to seek help. You can also provide them with resources and refer them to your enablement website that has all of those resources. Okay. You also want to manage resistance. You want to do so proactively and reactively. Proactively means identifying ahead of time where resistance might come from. Reactively is when you identify resistance, you want to mitigate that. You want to ensure that you leverage your champions and your leaders to help mitigate resistance to the company's reorg. And you can use this risk mitigation template on my screen to support your resistance management exercises. You also want to track key adoption metrics. So every business transformation comes with processes that are changing, right? So you want to ensure you are tracking how well people are using the new processes, how well people are following the new policies, track training completion, track any feedback sentiment you are identifying, as well as FAQs. And phase four is the final phase where we sustain and reinforce the new behaviors for the corporate restructuring. For phase four, you want to ensure that you are maintaining your change network as well as your feedback loops. Keep champions and leaders engaged through monthly or quarterly meetings, surveys, and success stories. This is very important to continue to share and communicate success stories to let people see how use cases for how the business reorg is being successful. You also want to ensure that you continue office hours and user support to make sure that you are providing ongoing help and also refreshing training when needed. You also want to ensure you continue to measure adoption during this sustained phase. Continue to track how well people are using the new processes, the new policy, the new systems that are coming about through the company's restructuring. You also want to track levels of engagement. Are people continuing to be engaged, or is participation falling off? Make sure you track and also capture lessons learned. Why should you capture lessons learned? Because a business transformation is never a one time and be done event. There are normally follow on activities that need to happen to sustain the business restructuring. And so, capturing lessons learned is really important to help increase the success of future events and activities. You also want to reinforce and recognize adoption by celebrating success stories, highlighting people, and also recognizing people. What I do as a change management a consultant is I draft communications and provide those to leaders and ask them to cascade those communications, recognizing people that have gone far and beyond in adopting the business restructuring. That really goes a long way to making people feel appreciated and making everybody else want to be recognized. And so it increases their own adoption interest. Now, here's a summary of the four-phase approach that I use personally to deliver organizational change management for business restructuring and reorg. Let me go over this slide very quickly so you can see everything in one place. So I start by conducting the change readiness assessments, which we went over at the beginning of this video. I then go into the design and develop phase where I develop the change strategies using that free strategic playbook, which I'm going to give to you at the end of this video. I also develop the detailed plans as well as materials and assets for delivering change management to help increase adoption and also getting people excited. And then the implement phase is where I launch the Change Champion Network. I deliver the detailed communications. I provide hands on training. I conduct office hours. I do leadership coaching and manage resistance, and I also track adoption. And then the final phase is where we sustain and reinforce the change. We embed the new behaviors into day to day operations. This four phase framework is time bound and scalable. What does that mean? It really means that you can apply this model for a small pilot, or you can expand it enterprise wide with the same structured cadence. Okay? Now, doing change management is not easy, especially for a company restructuring. And if you need help or if you need support or somebody to do the heavy lifting for you, don't hesitate to reach out to me. See the link below. Also below, you will find the link to the readiness assessment survey that you can use to start identifying the level of readiness. You will also find the link to our free change management templates and tools for you to actually leverage in implementing change management for your company's reorg. Okay, good luck. And once again, if you need help, reach out to me or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And don't forget to like this video, as that lets me know that you have received value from it. You can also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss great content like this one.